Your brother needs this apartment. Es starting a family, my mother announced while standing in my living room, gesturing at the walls like a real estate agent showing property that didn't belong to her. Behind her, my brother Connor was literally measuring my bedroom with a tape measure, calling out dimensions to his fiancée Brittany, who was already planning where their furniture would go. None of them knew that the knock about to hit my door would reveal a secret I'd been keeping for 3 years, one that would completely rewrite the power dynamics in our family. Before I tell you what that knock revealed, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from right now? And when you hear what my family discovered about this apartment, tell me honestly, would you have kept that secret too? My name is Autumn. I'm 29 years old, and I've spent my entire life being the family afterthought while my brother got everything handed to him on a silver platter. Let me paint you a picture of the Gallagher family dynamic. Connor is 2 years older than me. Growing up in our small town in upstate New York, I was the golden child in every sense of the word, star quarterback, prom king, our parents, retirement plan wrapped in a letterman jacket. Every achievement was celebrated like a national holiday. Every failure was excused as a learning experience. Every need that was met before I even had to ask. Me? I was the girl who existed in his shadow. The quiet one. The one who got good grades nobody noticed because they weren't touchdowns. The one who worked part-time jobs through gig school while Connor got a brand new truck for his 10th birthday. The one who was told there wasn't enough money for my college, though somehow there had been plenty for his. Connor has more potential, my dad said to say whenever he asked why the rules were different. We're reinvesting in his future. His future. Never mine. I put myself through college with loans and 3 jobs. I graduated with a degree in accounting and moved to the city, determined to build something that didn't depend on people who had never believed in me. I found a job at a small investment firm. I worked 80-hour weeks. I saved every penny. And then I met Mr. Kowalski. Henry Kowalski was 78 when he moved into his apartment building, a 6-unit brownstone in Brooklyn he had owned for 50 years. His wife had passed away the year before. His children lived across the country and rarely visited, and he was lonely and overwhelmed by property management. He was the accountant who had just rented his smallest unit. What started as me helping with his taxes became something deeper. I'd bring him dinner when he cooked too much. I'd tell me stories about the neighborhood before gentrification. I helped him navigate the endless regulations of being a landlord. It taught me how to evaluate property values and spot good investments. Over 3 years, Henry became the family I'd never really had. He came to my birthday dinners. I drove him to doctor's appointments. When my own father forgot to call me on Christmas, Henry handed me a gift that wrapped himself, a first edition of my favorite book that he found at an estate sale. You remind me of my daughter, he told me once. The way she was before she got too busy to remember where she came from. 2 years ago, Henry sat me down. His heart was declining. His children had already told him they planned to sell the building the moment they died and split the proceeds, without ever stepping foot in Brooklyn. He couldn't bear the thought of strangers tearing apart the home they built with his wife. I want to sell you the building, he said. Below market value, with a payment plan he could actually afford. I thought he was joking. A Brooklyn brownstone, eh? Even discounted, it meant millions. But Henry had done the math. He'd said to me for half its assessed value. I'd pay him monthly, using the rental income from the other units to cover most of the cost. He'd continue living in his unit, rent-free, until he passed. In exchange, I'd maintain the building, keep rents reasonable for long-term tenants, and never sell to developers. It was the opportunity of a lifetime, offered by a man who had become more of a father to me than my own. He said yes. The sale closed quietly. His children contested, lost, and went back to ignoring him. For the last 18 months, I've owned a 6-unit brownstone in Brooklyn. I still live in my little apartment, now mortgage-free. The rental income pays for maintenance, taxes, and my monthly payments to Henry. In those years, I owned it outright. I never told my family. Why would I? They'd never invested in me. They'd never believed in me. And the moment they learned I had something valuable, they'd find a way to make it about Connor. And of course, exactly that happened. Connor got engaged 3 months ago to Brittany, a woman had been dating for 6 weeks. She was 23, worked at a makeup counter, and had already informed my brother that she expected a real home before the wedding. Connor, naturally, had no savings. His various parent-funded business ventures had all failed. He was 31 years old and still borrowing money from mom and dad, who continued to believe his big break was just around the corner. Their solution? Hide in my apartment. They saw it up on a Saturday morning without warning. Mom, Dad, Connor, and Brittany, all standing at my door like an invasion force. We need to talk about the living situation, Mom announced as she pushed past me. This apartment is perfect, she continued. Connor and Brittany need a place in the city. This is my apartment, he said slowly, watching my brother examine the crown molding like he already owned it. You're renting, Dad corrected. You can rent somewhere else. Connor is starting a family. He needs stability. I'd lived here for 5 years and now, apparently, it was time to share. Mom's voice had that tone, the one that meant the decision had already been made and my input wasn't required. We'll talk to your landlord, explain the situation. Family takes priority. Brittany was in my bedroom now, measuring the closet space. This is actually smaller than I expected. Can we knock out this wall? You can't just give away my apartment, I said, my voice tight. That's not how leases work. Don't be selfish, Autumn. Connor finally spoke, using that condescending tone he'd perfected over 3 decades. You're single. No kids. What do you need all this space for? Brittany and I are building a life together. You should be happy to help your family. Happy to help. As if I hadn't spent my entire life helping while they took and took and took. The landlord will understand, Mom assured me. Elderly man, right? Living alone? He'll probably appreciate having a nice young couple in the building instead of a single woman. I was about to answer when there was a knock at the door. Everyone froze. I walked over and opened it. Henry stood there, leaning on his cane, a manila envelope in his hand. Autumn, dear. He peered past me at my family. I heard voices. Thought I should check on things. My mother immediately switched into her sugary company voice. You must be the landlord. Wonderful to meet you. We were just discussing some changes to the rental situation. Changes? Henry stepped inside, eyes sharp despite his age. What kind of changes? My son needs this apartment, Mom explained sweetly. He's getting married, starting a family. We were hoping we could transfer the lease. Henry looked at me, then back at my mother. I think there's been a misunderstanding, he said calmly, about who owns this building. My mother's jaw dropped. Excuse me. Henry handed me the manila envelope. These are the updated insurance documents. Meant to give them to you yesterday. Then he straightened, shoulders back, chin lifted with quiet authority. My name is Henry Kowalski. I used to own this building. I sold it 18 months ago. A beat of silence. I sold it to Autumn. The silence that followed was absolute. Connor dropped his tape measure. Brittany stepped out of the bedroom, confused. My father looked like he'd been slapped. And my mother, who had spent 30 years dismissing me, stared as if I were a stranger. You own this building? Dad asked, voice cracking. Yes. I kept my voice steady. All 6 units. I've owned it for a year and a half. But how? You're an accountant. You can't afford. I can, I said sharply, because I've been saving since I was 16. Because I worked 3 jobs through college. Because no one ever handed me anything, so I learned how to build things myself. I looked at my brother. Unlike some people. Connor's face flushed red. This is insane. You're lying. The property records are public, son, Henry said gently. Feel free to verify. Autumn is the legal owner of this building, and she's been an excellent landlord. Better than I ever was in my later years. My mother finally found her voice. Why didn't you tell us? Why would I? I crossed my arms. So you could find a way to give it to Connor? So Dad could explain why my investment should fund another one of Connor's failed businesses? So you could show up like you did today, treating something I built like it belongs to you. That's not fair. Not fair. I laughed, sharp, humorless. You showed up unannounced to take my apartment and hand it to my brother. You didn't ask. You didn't consider me. You just assumed Connor's needs mattered more than my entire life. I gestured around the room. This is my home. My property. My building. And you walked in here measuring rooms like I was nothing. Brittany finally spoke. So, you're not giving us the apartment? I stared at her. Did you hear anything I just said? But Connor said. Connor says a lot of things. I cut her off. Saying them is his specialty, not earning them, not doing them. Just saying things and waiting for someone else to make them happen. I looked at my brother. How's that working out for you so far? Connor stepped toward me, anger and desperation twisted together. You owe us. This family raised you. This family told me there wasn't money for college while buying you a truck. This family ignored every achievement I had because it wasn't a football trophy. This family forgot my birthday 3 years in a row, but threw you a party when you got your real estate license, and then immediately quit. I pointed at the door. I don't owe you anything. You've been collecting on a debt that never existed. Dad tried one last time. Autumn, be rational. Maybe we could work something out. Maybe Connor could rent one of the other units. All my units are occupied by tenants who pay rent on time and don't feel entitled to special treatment because of their last name. I opened the door. This conversation is over. Please leave. Mom was crying now. You're throwing your family out? I'm asking uninvited guests to leave my property. The same thing any landlord would do. I held the door open. Goodbye, Mom. They walked out in stunned silence. Connor was the last to leave. He stopped in the doorway looking at me with an expression I had never seen before. Something like recognition. I didn't know, he murmured. No, I said softly. You didn't. Because you never asked. Not once in 30 years did you ask me about my life, my goals, my dreams. You just assumed I existed to be less than you. I began closing the door. Now you know I'm not less. I never was. You just weren't paying attention. The door clicked shut. Henry placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. You handled that well. Better than I would have. Did I? I whispered. I feel like I just detonated my entire family. Some families need detonating. He smiled warmly. Some buildings need renovation before they're worth anything. People are the same way. That was 6 months ago. Connor and Brittany broke up 2 months later. Apparently she wasn't interested in a man who couldn't deliver on his promises. My parents have called a few times, conversations that always circle back to how I should help Connor get back on his feet. I don't answer anymore. Henry passed away last month, peacefully in his sleep in the apartment below mine. His children came to the funeral looking uncomfortable, strangers in the building their father loved. In his will, Henry left me his wife's vintage jewelry and a letter I keep framed on my wall. To Autumn, it reads, the daughter I chose. Thank you for seeing an old man when his own children couldn't. The building is yours now. Make it a home for people who deserve one. Love, Henry. I'm doing exactly that. Next month I'm converting one unit into an affordable rental for young professionals. People like I once was trying to build something from nothing. Because some of us know what it's like to be overlooked. And some of us remember what it means when someone finally sees us. So if you're watching this and you've ever been the family afterthought, the one expected to sacrifice while others received, hear me. Build quietly. Save relentlessly. Let them underestimate you. And when they come to take what's yours, show them exactly what their oversight cost them. You don't owe your success to people who never invested in it. And you certainly don't owe them your home.